Would you like to learn how you can influence people's decisions? Do you want them to still like you while you're doing it? Do you want it to be less confrontational? The goal of this video is to give you the 12 principles so you can be more influential in your career and your life. If you're able to influence others, you're going to have an easier time getting your way. Here we go. Welcome to the Executive Mom Show. Today we are talking about the 12 principles to be able to more easily influence others. If you are following along, we are basing it off of this book. This book is a gem. It's incredibly difficult to read, in my opinion, so I am just highlighting the key parts that you need to know so you can take away the big ideas. So if you're following along, we are part 3, how to win people to your way of thinking. So he's got 12 principles, Dale Carnegie. This is written for men, so I'm going to put a little women's twist on it so we can be successful too. And part 1 is going to be the first 6. Part 2, I will do the last 6 because otherwise it's just too long. Key principle number 1. How can you win an argument? That is the question. We all want to know, how can you win an argument? Here you go. By avoiding it. Do not have an argument. Everybody loses. Everybody loses if you have an argument. You cannot win an argument. Do not play a game that you can't win, okay? Avoid arguments like you would snakes. If you feel an argument coming up, avoid it. And I'm going to tell you exactly, very specifically, step by step, how to do this. Avoid it with your kids, avoid it with your spouse, sure as heck avoid it with your boss, and avoid it with your colleagues. There is a better way. There is a way better way. Okay, so what if you're at work and you have to go head to head with someone, okay? You have your opinion, they have their opinion, and you're like, crap, what do we do? So how do you keep this situation from becoming an argument? Step 1 is welcome the disagreement. There is a saying that says when 2 partners always agree, one of them is not necessary. So I am not telling you to not have an opinion or disagree. However, we're going to go about it very strategically. So welcome, that is step 1. Welcome the disagreement. Tell me more should be your response. If there's a point you hadn't thought about, be thankful that it was brought to your attention. Write it down. Take some notes. Perhaps this disagreement is your opportunity to be corrected before you make a huge mistake. It is possible, folks. It is possible that you could actually have missed something. So be open to the fact that you might be wrong. When this happens, when anyone disagrees with me, my ears perk up. I don't think of it as a personal attack. I think of, what did I miss? This person cares enough to point something out that I may have missed. So that is step 1. Welcome the disagreement. Here is step number 2. Your instinct will be to be defensive. It is normal. You want to say, but blah, blah, blah. Don't do it. Keep calm. And your first reaction is not your best reaction. So pause. Pause for a minute. It is perfectly okay to take a gulp, whatever, take a breath, I don't know. Sit there and pause for a minute and say, what an interesting point. Buy some time so that you don't have this instinct to be like, but no, or I tried it, I did that, blah, 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 blah. Okay, keep your calm. First reaction is not your best reaction, so let that not be your first reaction. Step number 3 is also to control your temper. So some of us have to work on this more than others. This one, I don't get fired up about things, but my husband sure does. Oh, he gets real fired up. He's got a big button that says press here, and my kids just press right on it and he just blows up. So there's a good saying, you can measure the size of a person by what makes him or her angry. Oh dear. I did not mean to just criticize my husband. He is wonderful and he is a big man and he is great. But keep that quote in mind. I'm going to repeat it because it's so good. You can measure the size of a person by what makes him or her angry. Be the bigger person and don't get worked up over things that don't matter. You don't have time for that. No way. We don't have time or energy for that. Step 4 is listen first. Give your opponent a chance to talk. You don't need to share your hand at all, actually. But try to build bridges of understanding and let them go first. Okay? Let them go first. That's one way of starting to win this non-argument that we're going to have. Let them go first. It is a strategy. Step number 5 is to look for areas of agreement. So after you've listened to them thoroughly. You're going to have to put on your patient hat. Okay? If you want to get your way, this is the way to do it with the least pain. But it's going to feel a little slow at first. So you just have to buck up and get on with this. So step number 5 is you're going to look for areas of agreement. After you listen to them, highlight the points that you agree on. Maybe it's as simple as the outcome. Okay? We both agree that we really want to add value to this customer. Okay? That is going to help get you on the same page. All right? So highlight what you agree on. And there should be something that you agree on. If nothing, you can agree on it's a tight deadline. I guess we both agree that it's a really tight deadline. This is due tomorrow. Figure out what you agree on and call that out. And then look for other things too. You can say, what else do we agree on? That is really going to help move this forward in the right direction. Number 6 is back to you. Be honest and look for areas where you can admit error. If you made an error, apologize. It's going to really help disarm your opponents. Again, this is a strategy, people. This is a strategy. This is going to help you win, okay? You are letting them win the battle, but you are going to win the war, all right? So look for whatever mistake. If you made a mistake, you misunderstood, admit it. Admit it, okay? It's going to disarm them. This is a strategy. Okay, step number 7. Say you'll think over the other ideas and their points and you will study them carefully. And guess what? You're actually going to do that because here we do what we say we're going to do. Okay, we are honest and trustworthy and we do the things that we say that we're going to do. So you're going to do that. They might be right. What are they right about? They could be right. So think it over and highlight what they might be right about. All right. Step number, that was a lot of rights. Right? Yes, got it. Yeah. Okay. Step number 8, thank your opponent for their interest. Okay. Think of them as people who really want to help you. They care enough to bring this to your attention and have a conversation about it. So you need to thank them. All right. So here's where we really are getting to the strategy. Step number 9. So these are all the steps that you're taking in this first meeting. Step number 9, I have enough fingers here. Postpone action to give both sides time to think through the problem. What if you don't have time to do that? What if there's a wild deadline? We'll get to you. Don't you worry. We'll get to you, okay? Ideally, postpone the action because this will give people time to think through. And I think you both want the right outcome. Again, you might be wrong. I might be wrong in this situation. I need a little bit of time to think through this problem. So suggest a follow-up meeting, ideally the next day, or whatever makes sense, whatever situation you're in, whatever makes sense is when you should have the next meeting. This strategy will really help you win the war. If you're going to try to win it now because you're impatient, you're going to lose the battle and you're also going to lose the war. So postpone the action. Allow some time to go by. Everybody settles down. Everyone thinks a little bit better. Time heals everything. I truly believe time heals everything. But they're winning this battle. Okay, you didn't agree to anything. You definitely did not agree to anything. But they're walking away feeling like a winner because you heard them. You're going to listen to their points and you're going to research their points and you are open to the idea that they might be right. So they are walking away a winner. So in their mind, they have won. Now, when you come back, this is step number 10, a day later, see where everyone is and you will be shocked. You will be absolutely shocked that some of the points that you may have shared, you may have actually influenced them all on their own. Try this and then be really committed to the best outcome. All right? These steps work like magic. All right? And just keep in mind, misunderstanding is never ended by an argument, but by tact and a sympathetic desire to see the other person's viewpoint. This is very much going to help you in your career and in your life. Okay? Don't argue. There's a great saying, I'm gonna butcher it. Don't argue with a fool, because from a distance it's hard to tell who's the fool. Something like that. The big mega idea of that is, when you're arguing with someone, you both look like fools. Okay? So don't do it. Don't play that game. I only play games that I can win. Number 2. This is a sure way of making enemies and how to avoid it. So this is saying don't do this. The key principle is show respect for the other person's opinions. Never say you're wrong. Okay? Even if the person is wrong, it's not going to serve you well. It's really not. If you're going to prove something, don't let anybody know about it. You have to be a little more thoughtful about this. We're not trying to be sneaky. We're trying to actually do this in a professional and tactful way. All right? So you really can't teach. There's a quote that says you really can't teach a man anything. You can only help him find it within himself. So, and girls too, we should switch this to girls. You cannot teach a woman anything. You can only help her find it within herself. That is really true. So what do you do? What do we actually do? Okay, we're in the situation. Someone says something that is wrong. It's completely wrong. What you can say is, I may be wrong. We might need to examine the facts on that number. Okay, this disarms everyone, but you can call out, hey, that percentage, I could be wrong, but why don't we look at the facts and get back to that? So you're going to disarm everyone, and you're going to kind of call yourself out of, I might not have it right either. Totally fine. You don't need to jump in. If you jump in and be like, that's wrong, that percentage is 7% instead of 8%, it's not going to go over well. And then think of your big picture outcome, right? You want to be successful. You want to be good at influencing people. Always think of your war. That's the war that you're fighting, not this little battle. Win the war, okay? Don't win the battle and lose the war. That's bad strategy, okay? We're going to have a better strategy than that. And understand too that most people don't really want to change their minds about their religion, their haircut, their government party. Most people really don't want to change their mind. So how do you change someone's mind? Here's how you do it. You can, first of all, what's the problem? So figure out whatever it is related to their topic. Figure out what their problem is, and then ask what solutions they might think is best. Ask them. And then you can subtly, this is where the strategy comes in, you can subtly suggest things like, oh, interesting. I thought about this one thing. Or you can say, well, some people call them suggestions, like a suggestion and a question. And if you really need to push someone along in their thinking, you can do a suggestion, I think is what we call it. A suggestion, but in a question. Or you can flat out just suggest it. That is fine too, but do not jam it down anyone's throat. We're not jamming ideas down their throat, but you could say something like, oh, it could be an option. I love options. I love to say the word option. It could be an option to try this. Or you can even throw it out there. I have a, crazy idea would be this. What other crazy ideas can we think of? So you're lightly just throwing out some ideas. And what we're really trying to do is get them to think it's their idea, because they might hear your suggestion and then later think about it, and they might not remember where it came from necessarily, and everyone thinks their ideas are the best. So we want to throw out a little suggestion for them to later think about and have it be their own idea. So that is number 2. Number 3, if you are wrong, admit it. Admit it quickly, admit it empathetically. If you're in for it, let's say you really blew it. Everybody blows it. Are you kidding me? Like, if you're not blowing it, you're not doing enough. What are you doing? Okay? You need to be out there and ruffling feathers. If you are home doing nothing, not impacting anything, then you're not going to make any mistakes. And you know what? I actually worry about those folks more than the ones who are out trying to make a difference, trying to make an impact. They're in the arena. Okay? So if you're in the arena, good for you. And if you mess up in the arena, just admit it quickly and empathetically, all right? And if you're in for it, isn't it better to beat yourself up than rather the other person beat yourself up? I think self-criticism is a little easier to handle than, being condemned by someone else. So it also takes the wind out of their sails. If someone's going to criticize you, they actually might come to your defense. They might feel bad for you. And again, we're not looking for sympathy, but they might actually come to defend you, because that is human nature. I like to think we're all good and we want to help each other. So just admit it if you're wrong. And there is a certain degree of satisfaction in having the courage to admit your errors. It actually feels good. Okay? It clears the air of guilt and defensiveness, and it really helps solve the problem created by the error. So this is just going to take the wind right out of their sails immediately. So this is going to help you. Number 4, how he words it in the book is really cute. He says, a drop of honey, begin in a friendly way. So if you come up to someone with your fists up, I guarantee their fists are going to go right up. Okay. If you have ill will towards you, you're not going to be able to win them over with your way of thinking. You do not want that person's fists up, because you are not going to be successful in influencing them or changing their ideas if that is the approach that you're taking. So kindness, friendliness, appreciation can help more readily change people's minds than, storming and shoving things down people's throat. I learned this the hard way. I used to think my ideas were the very best because I'm very creative and I have all these ideas, and I would shove them down people's throats, and people hated it. I couldn't figure it out. I was like, oh my gosh, but my ideas are so great. And finally, I had a leader who pointed out to me, he's like, you are married to your ideas and people do not like it. And as soon as he told me that, thank you so much, by the way, I appreciated that piece of feedback. As soon as I understood that, my life got a lot easier and I got my way a lot more and with less confrontation. Okay, so friendliness. Friendliness will get you very far when you're trying to change people's minds. All right, number 5. This is the secret of Socrates. All right, this one is a little more psychology, woo-woo. So we'll go into it. The goal here is to get the other person to say yes immediately. So who is Socrates? For those of you who don't know, he was a Greek philosopher from Athens. He was credited as being the first moral philosopher of the Western ethical tradition of thought, and he had a huge influence on Western philosophy. So he was really good at argumentative skills. So here are some tips from him. Okay, so when you're talking with people, don't start with where you disagree. Begin and keep emphasizing all the things in which you agree. So that was our earlier, I think it was step 5 that we talked through. So this is key. You want to focus on where you agree. And then this is a little repetitive. Focus on the outcome, right? We want the same outcome. The only difference is the method, not the purpose. So kind of understand where you're going, okay? We agree on this North Star, but where we disagree is this method. Okay, it's not the bigger picture. Now here's the psychology part. Try to keep your opponent from saying no. It's very difficult handicap to overcome once they say no, because their pride gets in the way of saying yes. There's this psychological pattern that happens when someone says no and they mean it. Their nervous system, their muscular system, it gathers itself into this rejection mode. So you don't want them saying no about anything. Not about the weather, not about the walk, not about anything simple. You don't want any no's. You want some yeses. When people say yes, none of those withdraw, like biological, physical things happen. And your body actually kind of opens up a little bit and towards more acceptance and an open attitude. So you want yeses. Get them to say yes. They will forget about the issue at stake and they're happy to do whatever thing it is. So what you can do is, oh, do you enjoy this park? Yes. Or something where they say yes. Or talk about the outcome. Oh, do we both agree that this is the outcome? Yes. Get some yeses. Get some easy yeses. And it's going to tee them up to say more yeses. Okay, so you really keep asking questions until finally, really without realizing it. This is the Socratic method, right? He would ask questions in which the opponent had to agree, and he kept asking questions until finally, without even realizing it, the opponent found themselves embracing this conclusion that they may have denied a few minutes previously. So that is really the Socratic method. Get some yeses, find areas of that agreement, and then you will find them kind of embracing this other conclusion that if you just came out in the beginning straight out with, they may not have agreed to. So that is the strategy. All right, this is the last one. This is number 6. This I find so useful. All right, so this is, how do you handle complaints? How do we handle complaints? A lot of complaints happen. It can definitely flip into an argument very quickly. So here's how you do it. Let the other person do all the talking. Most people are trying to win others to their way of thinking, and they do too much talking themselves. So let the other person talk themselves out. They need to talk themselves out of it. Sometimes some people just want to talk out loud and be heard, but when there is a complaint, they really just want to talk it out. They know much more about their problems than you do. Ask them questions and let them tell you everything. This is fascinating when this happens. This happens to me all the time. Again, I'm an HR professional. People come with all kinds of things, and I just let them talk it out, and it usually works itself out, and I didn't really do anything but show up and listen. Now, if you disagree, let's say they're complaining and you immediately disagree with their complaint, don't interrupt. If you interrupt, they're not going to pay attention to you anyway. Well, they still have things on their mind. They're going to be thinking about, oh, this and that, and I need to tell them this, and I'm so upset about this, and it's actually just going to make it worse. So if you disagree, don't interrupt. Just let them finish. And it could be a while. Okay, y'all need to take a big dose of patience pills in order to handle this. Okay, you're going to listen patiently, and you're going to listen with an open mind. And be sincere and encourage them to express their ideas fully. All right? There's a story in the book. There is a hilarious story. There's an executive that had laryngitis. He had the biggest, most important meeting of his life, and he had laryngitis. The man couldn't speak. He literally could not speak. And he had to write down in the meeting, like, oh, I have laryngitis. I really can't talk. Guess what? He won the largest contract of his entire life. It was the best meeting he had ever had, and he didn't speak. The man did not speak, okay? That is a big sign. Speak less, let the other people speak, and you're going to win big contracts and be very successful. There's also a cute story of the mom with her daughter, and her daughter kept misbehaving, and the mom couldn't figure out. She's like, what's the problem? Like, why is this? She finally kind of broke down and asked her daughter. And the daughter said, you never listen to me. You interrupt me always with orders of what I didn't do. The daughter just needed a confidence. She needed an outlet. She needed someone to listen to her. So she was, again, as soon as her mom did this and listened to her, the daughter stopped acting out. So this could be your issue, right? Kids are tricky, and they've got all kinds of things happening as they're getting older. And they just want to be listened to and heard. That's what people really, really want. So what is the amazing thing today that you all need? This is for all busy working moms. This product is a secret from Jennifer Lopez. So while you're busy listening to people complaining, you might need to make sure you have on some sunscreen. This is the best Neutrogena Ultra Sheer Body Mist Sunscreen. So why does J-Lo like this? Because it makes you glow. I'm going to show you. I am going to show you how this makes you glow. Look at this. Spray this. It really makes you glow. Do you see that? It's a little sheen glow. It looks better. This arm is a little bit more shiny, and it's SPF 45. Completely fantastic. So if you enjoyed this video, or I missed something, I might have missed something. What did I miss? Put your comment below. Did you read this book? Did you get something different out of this, these principles? Again, I did the first 6. If you enjoyed this, watch part 2. I'm going to have the following 6 tips. All right. Have a lovely day. Mwah.